Hi, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
They finally have a home.
Yeah. Time for another DTE Energy Light the Lamp episode. Just kidding.
Mike.
Yeah.
We haven't needed to come aboard. I could argue, Mike, we still didn't need to come aboard. Let me ask real quick. Let's break the fourth wall.
Can we?
My internet connection is measured at like the tiniest little blip. Am I actually coming through on this video?
For right now, yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
I do look like that. I like that Yzerplan kind of looks like Captain America at the end of Avengers Endgame.
I am very proud of our good friend ChatGPT, who I put this thumbnail. Mike, yeah. What did I? We're rolling here at 6:40. I was texting you at like 6:25. I was like, just making a thumbnail, and I just asked ChatGPT, "Can you make an old fart Steve Yzerman?" And it was like, "Yeah, here you go." Great, thank you. But for anybody who is tuning in, well, obviously you'll see the title of the episode, but we are asking, how long is too long for the Yzerplan? We do want to jump in the comments here in a second, but just to make sure you don't turn it off immediately and just ignore the podcast, flip away from the YouTube video. What I did want to highlight is what we actually want to tackle here, which is an article that actually goes over like through the history of the salary cap era, even before that. Like what does a rebuild mean? We'll actually define what it means for this article in particular and how long it takes for a team to rebuild. And then, you know what, Mike, then we'll take a look at some trades, because we'll try and speed up this rebuild just a little bit, you know. We'll kind of, I think in a couple weeks, because I don't want to, we don't have enough content unless somebody actually gets signed. We don't have enough content to go week after week. But I did want to explore. There's one team that we'll take a look at today with this this article. We'll explore together here. There was one team who took a very long time to rebuild, and so it's interesting, and we'll talk about it because rebuilds are all different. As we know as Red Wings fans, not every GM's strategy is in sync with the previous GM, and maybe we'll learn the next GM's strategy wasn't in sync with this GM. Who knows if we will ever learn that. But we'll take a look at one team in particular, I feel like, in a couple of weeks. I'm looking at the Florida Panthers because their rebuild is historic. But when do you start seeing the pieces coming together, and what are those pieces? Of course, we see a juggernaut right now in Florida, but you know what? We'll go over all that. But Mike, do you want to roll through these comments real quick with me?
Yeah, we got some old timers. Speaking of old Steve Yzerman, some old Red Wings Rant old timers here, like old Jared Shaw. How long is the wait to go live is the question at this point. And you know what? I think I'm going to start reading Jared's comments in an old man voice because it makes me happy. How does a live stream break the fourth wall, Red Wings Ranters? Brian, welcome. Saying welcome. Dan B. I thought it was Jimmy Rutherford at first. And then Chewy from all the way in Texas.
Whoa.
Glad you're here, buddy.
The move from where, Chewy? Were you in Lansing or were you in?
He was in Michigan. I think
Powell.
He's going abroad now. Yzerplan so far is geriatric collection. Tell me I'm wrong. We would if we could, Brian. And then Jared saying Toronto gave Shanahan 11 seasons. So Chris Ilitch will give Yzerman at least 22 years because Chris doesn't give a shit. It certainly feels that way. Hey. Well, the thing that I think some people have wisely been bringing up with rebuilds is that you don't just hit the reset button and then 5 years elapse and then you're a good team. unfortunately, you have to make some pretty shrewd and smart, moves, coaching wise, player wise. You can't panic or get frustrated and sign guys like Kopp and Kopfer back-to-back seasons for 5 years, $5 million each season, and dump cap into that when you haven't, found your superstars yet, and keep yourself away from the best of the best in the draft lottery. And you can polish your knob as long as you want, but it's not going to get you at the top where the best players are. So yes, you can find guys at 6 through 20 and all the way at the end of the 6th round sometimes. Remember Pavel Datsyuk? But it's not really how this works. So you got to find ways to get good players. There's only 2 spots to get them right now. It's not through free agency. You got to trade for them, and you got to draft them. So we're currently in a position to do neither.
Well, clearly we've talked ad nauseum about why we think things have failed so far, and why we think there were areas where we could have made improvements. But I don't know if I was ever ready to call for his job. But I did at least a few times call out wow, this is the longest tenured GM to not make it to the playoffs. And I had done my own research on. I'm like, do your own research, Mike. I'd done my own research on that. For sure, there's GMs that could make the playoffs and then miss the playoffs for years, sometimes a full decade, but they made the playoffs. There was some proof that it was working at one point. But yeah, Steve right now owns the title, longest tenured GM to not make the playoffs, which also isn't reflective on a rebuild, right? Because GMs get a chance to help a team rebuild, and then maybe they don't get to see that plan come to fruition, or they make a mistake and it looks like they can't be fixed, and then maybe the team has to restart, at which point they would hire a new GM. Buffalo's headed in that direction pretty soon. So what we want to look at is, that trajectory of an NHL franchise, what the average is for a team that is going through a rebuild, and then kind of look at more recent takes. And then I also want to ask everybody too, how long are you willing to wait? Because based on some of the things we'll see today, we probably should have seen some results, or we might be waiting forever for some results. But
part of what you want to go over too is it's not just one off season, or not an off season end of the year. I mean being outside of what your projected performance is. So it's not an off year. It's a couple years of sustained, purposeful losing and or winning, on the other side, right? To kind of get your streak going again. So this is undeniably some sort of rebuild, because we've decided we're gonna bottom out, try to just build this thing from the ground up and go again. Matt, I don't know if there is a how long is too long. I don't know if a million years would be enough for Steve to win a Stanley Cup with this team. I don't know. I don't know if we want to get right into that, because I know you kind of wanted to give us a little more context of the research that was done. But
we got a couple quick hits too, because we missed the announcement of the Hockeytown Centennial Fan Fest, Mike.
Oh.
And I was wondering, should we circle this one on our own calendars? Should we be
no?
Should we make a trip down November?
About no.
No? Oh my gosh! All right. Well, never mind, everyone. I was gonna say, why don't we try and organize something for the Hockeytown Centennial Fan Fest? Yeah, I thought we could hit up a Red Wings game together and check out the Fan Fest, but no, Mike says no, so we'll move on. All right, sorry guys.
We should all hang out and watch some Piston basketball. Sorry
if I got anybody's hopes up that there'd be a Red Wings Rant meetup this year.
Okay, we could have one. That 100-year thing just really, really makes me mad because of the timing. We talked about it last time, but it's the timing of it was a direct message that no big moves will be coming. Instead, come downtown, buy a cream-colored jersey, and we will pee in your mouths.
But look,
yeah,
I know what you mean.
And or eyes. Yeah,
But they didn't plan for the 100-year to be this year. It happens to be this year. And I'm still a fan of this team and things I've experienced. So I will very happily experience the Centennial, Michael, Mr. Man.
If they, for one night, let Datsuk play 8 minutes on the fourth line, I'll go to the game.
Well, if you guys want, I'll organize it in the Discord. Please join the Discord. Check out the show notes.
Yeah.
I want to give Mike, you can protest. Maybe we could organize it on a night.
You're right. Look, they couldn't have. This was the 100th year, right? This was going to happen anyway. But we knew we weren't going to fire Steve for yet another season because we'll just ride on this 100-year thing. Just come on in, Steve.
Brian's
you got another year.
Brian's with you.
Distraction technique, 100th. Thank you, Brian.
I do like the idea that like a year ago they were like, I don't think Fade's really. Let's not do anything. And Steve, then when they realize,
Steve, we gotta fire you. We gotta fire you. All right, it's not working out. Listen, I'm thinking we could buy me at least one more season. We do have the 100-year coming up. Huh. What a relief. We really didn't want to fire you this season. All right, get one more shot, old man. Make this count. So really excited for the 101st celebration next November. That'll be a blast.
Well, it'll be a cool logo. Mike, also, what happened while we were out, Michael Leighton brought in as our new goalie coach to make things work for Cam Talbot and, of course, our new friend, John Gibson. Mike, you might remember Michael Leighton. Of course, was the goaltender who gave up the game-winning goal to Patrick Kane as a Philadelphia Flyer for the Stanley Cup. I think do we all remember the infamous goal that got tucked in beneath the goalie's pads?
That was pretty incredible. Isn't that the goal nobody could tell it went in? That's the one?
Yeah, described as only Michael and Patrick Kane knew that it had gone in the net. Also, Mike, we picked up Mason Appleton.
Got him.
I'll remind everybody, I was protesting wearing Red Wings gear until we did something of interest. This does not qualify in any way, shape, or form. So I continue to wear Tiger stuff, although they are starting to suck some big old hairy nuts right now.
They are.
I mean, I guess before last night, they had like 2 runs since the All-Star break?
They were dead last in baseball in runs scored since the All-Star break. 30th out of 30 teams. But I did want to pull up Appleton's stats, Matt. He has scored more goals in a season than the Tigers have scored after the All-Star break. So that's something.
Nice.
Yeah, one time he scored 36 points. So that's almost half a point a game. That's pretty good.
Wow.
He's part of that vaunted Winnipeg Jet offensive defensive forward core. I think where we just signed a Hall of Famer. I'm pretty excited. $2.9 million, Matt. Was that too little for this 30 for this ripe young Mr. Appleton, 29-year-old Matt? He will be 31 at the end of this deal. Are you not excited?
No, I'm thrilled. Are
we going to see a ton of Appleton jerseys out there?
I want to see what the percentages are. I wish Puckpedia was as good as our old buddy.
They're pretty good.
Friendly.
Now I know that he uses a Warrior Alpha LX2 Pro hockey stick.
I want to compare the percentage of salary that Mason Appleton is eating now from the Red Wings compared to what Steve paid to get a guy like Andrew Kopp on this team. But I'm not seeing it right away.
Dad B's saying, I guess that Petrie money that was saved was burning a hole in Steve's pocket.
Gotta get rid of it. There's literally nobody in our prospect pool that could fill the bottom 6 of this lineup. We gotta get Mason Appleton in here. Because, you mean like JVR.
For one season? No, 2 years. Give him 2. It worked out so well with Tarasenko. Yeah.
Is completely like? Is he unable to sign contracts for 1 year? Is that like what? Is that the deal he has to come to with everybody who comes to Detroit?
We can't just
Look,
make this a
everybody
totally
else.
bitter episode, but are players so averse to playing here that they're listen, I'm sorry, just one season. Just one season. I'm gonna write you a check for millions of dollars. The guy's like, you go to hell, Steve. Listen, okay. 2 years, please. Please.
Söderblom's back, Mike. 2-year contract.
Huge.
Woo! Don't hate it. Nice and cheap. If I was Söderblom, though, I'd be like, what the hell? I played on the first line last year. I'm a first line winger, and you're paying me 1.1 mil? God damn it, Steve. All right. Yeah. Let's jump into...
We inked my boy. I'm excited to hear more about potential for 2 more seasons.
So here's a quick lineup check. You got Van Reemers on the first line, which makes me want to throw up. I think this one came from Max Boltman, but I put it together on Puckpedia so we could take a peek. But it's
I would get used to him on the first line. It's gonna happen, and it's not gonna not be Larkin and Raymond. So that's basically set in stone. Second line, DeBrincat, Kasper, and Kane. I hope Kasper's little burst last year was real. That'd be really nice. Third line, hope you guys are buckled in for 13 to 14 million. Andrew Kopp, JT Coffer, and the Apple man himself, Mr. Appleton. And then in the fourth line, just a who's who of guys who are maybes and some days. Söderblom, Rasmussen, and the Burger Man.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think about that. All 3 of those guys are just like, well, we'll keep
That's
you aboard.
The ifs, nuts, and candy and butts line. Let's go.
Oh God, can you please remember that for when the season starts?
Ifs and butts for candy and nuts line. There we go.
Woo!
Love it.
And of course on the defense, not many surprises here. We don't have too much to work with, Mike. When we were painting this portrait, this masterpiece here. Ben Schrottenseider, Edvinsson, Johansson, Gustafsson, Bernard Docker.
Okay. It's still insane to me. It's not insane that Schrott has a job, right? He's a large human who plays defense. I just didn't know he's going to be a cornerstone of the Red Wings for the tenure of his contract. First pairing minutes. Get that man out there. We got a big shift coming up. Where's Schrott?
How many times? I mean, you're right. We don't want to make this another drag Steve through the mud episode. But how many times have we analyzed this team and we pull up the starting goaltender and we're like, wow, look they're at the top of the league for goals saved above expected, right?
Yeah.
Like we get goaltender performances and then we get like a kid in there and he just can't handle the whole season, right? Or maybe it's not even a kid. Maybe we're just talking about an Alex Lyon and we're like, he couldn't do it. So you would assume, Mike, why did said goaltender? We had Talbot was doing good last year. The year before, it looked like Alex Lyon was our savior. And they tire out. Nedeljkovic, thank you. I was trying to think. He looked like our savior for a while, and then they just crap out in the second half.
So, yeah, we keep leading the league in expected goals against as a goaltender, and then we're the bottom of the league in expected goals against defensemen.
But then it turns around. And I'm thinking it's because these goaltenders get worn out because of all the work they need to do to make up for this crappy defense. And then not only did we do that, but we doubled down on old fart goalies. Mike, stop picking up a new goalie every year, Steve. Work on this damn defense. Okay. We have some fixes.
This is the only thing you can grab, though. Yeah. It's like the apocalypse. All the supplies are gone, and Steve ran out, and he was able to get like unsalted Triscuits. Oh man, what'd you bring home? Well, Triscuits aren't unsalted. Come on, man, we don't have any water. It's the end times. Oh, Steve, do you want me? I could go get an older box of Triscuits. No, just it's fine.
I did come up with another version where it's like, all right, if we're not going to do anything fun this offseason, can we at least go through the prospect pool and update this lineup? So I made some upgrades already for Steve. On the third line, instead of paying out $14 million to that thing that he put together, that Steve put together, maybe Max put together. Let's get Mazer locked in there with Nate Danielson, and then we'll move Berggren up to the third line. And then the fourth line, let's put Mason Appleton where he belongs. You know, let's put him on that fourth line and see if we can do some damage down there, because he brings a little bit of offense.
I love your youth movement, but I sincerely doubt that we're going to have $10.7 million up in the rafters with Steve. Those two guys are playing out them contracts.
It is wild that we have an entire half of the fan base that is convinced
things are going quite well.
It's going well. And at the same time, our average age is ancient. Like, no. You don't understand. Those 9 years, those are because of Ken Holland. Ken Holland ruined this team. So now 6 years of the Yzerplan, our average age is 45 on this roster. It's just, I don't know.
A lot of old
I don't know. All right. Let's Mike, do rebuilds actually work in the NHL? Jesus. Let's get to it.
We do want to say hi to Ketzel. Howdy, nerds.
Oh my God. Sorry. Yeah.
Crimson, what up, buddy? Saying, what did we rank on in time of possession? Can't score if the puck is 90% over on your end zone. Yeah, Crimson, it is very difficult when our defensemen like to not play the puck outside of the Red Wings half of the ice. Dan B saying, I really think they need to make Abdelkader earn his buyout by playing on the fourth line. Yeah, make him play it again, like punishment. It's like, putting the guys breaking the stones on the chain gang. That's going to be Abdelkader. Brian with a Rosemary's Baby reference. Smoke them if you got them. And Crimson, making a bid for comment of the episode, saying Yzerman might as well be Jerry Jones. He ain't going nowhere.
Oh, that's wild. All right. Well, Paul Pidutti from Adjusted Hockey. Isn't that a fun name? Do rebuilds actually work in the NHL? Guys, I highly recommend this artitle. It is.
I thought you were going to say I highly recommend rebuilds.
Well, I don't for my sanity, but let's talk about what Paul Pidutti defined a rebuild as, because as we go through this conversation, we want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I'll let you guys know.
I don't know if I'm mature enough to keep saying Pidutti. Paul Pidutti. I'm just going to call him PP for short. Oh, man. That didn't help. All right, so let's look at the Paul Pidutti method. An NHL rebuild is defined purely by on-ice results over time, using these objective criteria. Rebuild starts when a team records at least 2 bottom 10 finishes, including at least 1 bottom 8 finish, within a 3-year span. Red Wings, check. Rebuild ends when that same team qualifies for the playoffs in 2 consecutive seasons or wins Lord Stanley's Cup upon return to the postseason.
I like these rules because it doesn't give like room for like a middling team to like jump into the rebuild conversation here. Like, you do have to suck. You have to like bottom out.
Yeah.
I do also like when the rebuild ends. Like, if you're a one-off Stanley Cup champion, dude, you did it. Like, that's all you're asking for.
It's all about, Charlie Brown. Yeah. Also, Ketzel saying, at least we're not Buffalo yet. Man, the bar.
Dan B, not giving Steve a pass, but Holland's last 5 drafts produced poo-poo.
Morning wake, huh? The bar is low. Jared trying to help me out with the Paulie Pidutti and Mr. PP. How about Paulie P? No. And then Brian said, rebuilds work if you make progress, not get your skates mired in muck.
I agree. Well, let's keep going though, Mike.
Go.
What I wanted to show here, this is I love what Paul Pidutti put together for us. Timelines in the salary cap era. You can see this graph starts in 2006, goes to 2025. If you are, I'm going to say blue as a colorblind person. If you see a blue rectangle, you are actively rebuilding your franchise. If you're yellow, you completed it in the salary cap era. And there's some red in here somewheres, notating that you won a Stanley Cup. So you got your Pittsburghs, your St. Louis. Well, I guess everybody's on here, but Mike, this
should. Man, I think your kids just saw the Red Wings timeline.
All right, I didn't know if that was making it through. Yeah, Teddy's not happy right now. He was very sad that Dad didn't play bad guys with him right when he got home.
Oh boy!
But I wanted to call out, like, there's some argument here for the Steve bots, as I'm going to steal that. I think that's from the ticket, right? From the Steve bots, who might lay claim to the fact, like, it hasn't been long enough for us to judge Steve, because you can see Buffalo, you can see New Jersey. Oh my gosh. There was a battle going down outside. You can see Buffalo and New Jersey, and Vancouver, and
Nashville.
Looks like Utah.
Or is that Utah?
I believe. Yeah, that's Utah next to Vancouver. They've been going for a while. Nashville's on the cusp of joining us. But Mike, certainly those rebuilds have taken longer than Detroit's rebuild. If not just a couple years longer, I believe Buffalo is 1, 2, 3, 4 years longer than Detroit. So, look, I don't want this to paint the picture that everything's fine and we're moving in the right direction, because I think what you want to do is look at this and go, oh no, we are on the cusp of becoming the next, obviously the Coyotes, but Utah, Vancouver, or Buffalo. I think those teams have rightly embarrassed themselves. And you're Mike, again, you could look at this a couple different ways. This could either be the graph that makes you take a deep breath and you're like, okay, like it's not that bad. Or you look at it like I did and I went, oh God, we're like right there. Oh, New Jersey too is sort of, that one's weird, right? Because that, like, you could look at the top of New Jersey's and you're like, all right, they did pretty well for a while. Then they're officially rebuilding. And then they do okay, like the next year. Like they come in 7th place. And then rebuilding for a while, for quite a while. They jump into the playoffs in 2018, back to rebuilding, and then jump into the playoffs and our 3rd place finish in 2023. And then that wasn't enough to pull them out of the rebuilding state, because they were right back out of the playoffs the next year. So New Jersey, this is another way to look at this, Mike. These franchises, holy mackerel, sometimes they have no idea what the hell's going on. And they get little inches, and then it all just disappears again, right from under their feet.
Yeah, that's what Jared was saying, that they just keep getting, mistimed injuries. It is kind of fascinating, though, like how far 1 or 2 great players can carry you for a decade. I'm looking at you, Washington, with Ovi, Pittsburgh, with Crosby. God, where'd they go? Because I think their run was basically like his draft year and all the way forward. And then Boston had their run with Marchand and Pasta and the boys. Man, from 2010 all the way up to last year was the first time that they kind of petered out a little bit. Woo.
I know it would be fun to see this go back to like the beginning of the Red Wings run, but we got more to talk about. Okay. So these were the top takeaways from Paul's article. Rebuild timelines are long. Now, Mike, he says they're long. Modern rebuilds average 8.5 years, from bottom 10 finishes to back-to-back playoff berths. Mike, we're going into year 10, baby. Woo! We did it. The other thing too, like with his definition, Paul's definition, we cannot come out of our rebuild this upcoming season. So we will be entering year 11 of the rebuild with Paul's rules because you have to make the playoffs twice. So we're stretching this average. We are going to head into year 11 on the rebuild, no matter what happens this year. So again, I only mentioned that because we're gonna call this gospel, right? Like we're gonna say these rules. This is the beginning and end. This is A to Z. This is what rebuilds are for us to have this conversation make sense. Because certainly we saw with New Jersey, this average would be much smaller if you took away making it to the playoffs for 1 year. So instead of their 20-year rebuild, you're cutting that number in half, and that would be really scary. So I think it is responsible to stick to this, make this our gospel. But yes, even with Ken Holland, Mike, you are now not only owning the longest tenured GM to not make a playoff round, Man, it's going to be fun when we start talking about winning playoff rounds. To not make a playoff round. But Mike, you are now beyond the average time it takes to rebuild your franchise. Mike, how long is too long for the Yzerplan? But anyway, let's keep talking. Most rebuilds succeed eventually. Half of the 20 rebuilds studied yielded at least one Stanley Cup, and nearly all produced sustained contenders, even if they took closer to 10 years to peak.
Huh.
So we'll take a look. I want to take a look at that too, and we'll talk about like how long some of the teams lasted, or it took them to get to that point, and then what it resulted in. But here's Paul's last take: was patience is the price of admission. GMs often endure losing to buy time, and fans have grown more accustomed to multi-year rebuilds. Yet the expectation clock starts to tick loudest once you're in year 9 or 10. Hey, we did it again. I love this. Seriously, guys, go check out Paul Pidutti's article. So let's look at a couple of timelines. We can compare ourselves, Mike. If you're looking at these super long timelines, I kind of like what I'm seeing here, Mike. You've got your Hurricanes, your Avs, your Maple Leafs, Islanders. I mean, it was some sustained winning. A couple of Eastern Conference Finals. The Blackhawks, the Oilers, and the Panthers.
Why is ours not in there?
Oh, it's these are the rebuild timelines for teams that completed.
They completed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
We'll take a look at
that window yet. Yeah.
Do you want to see us?
Yeah.
All right. There we are.
We're getting at the top.
Yeah. We don't have the longest one. The Canucks cannot pull themselves out. The Sabres definitely can't. The Devils could. Devils could pull themselves out. Utah won't be. So this ranking will stay the same next year.
Man, I hope that Chris Ilitch never sees this article.
Yeah, he's like, we're fine.
Hey, we're right on track. Looks great. All right.
So, yeah, for teams that are beyond the average, right? Right now, it's us, the Red Wings, Utah Mammoth, Vancouver Canucks, Buffalo Sabres, and I guess the Devils will probably pull themselves out, right? Because they'll be in the playoffs for the second straight year this year. I'm assuming they're not going to hit the same injury issues.
I really like the historical context, right? That maybe things aren't so bleak, but you should be shaking in your boots if you read what Dan B just posted. Oilers, Blackhawks, Devils, Maple Leafs, Panthers, all got number 1 overall picks. We are nowhere close to getting one of those number 1 picks. So our highest drafted player has already been drafted.
I love that you mentioned that, Dan, because that's where I was going to call out some of these teams that
and free agency's over.
Yep.
Especially with the cap going up. Whoops.
Yeah, the Coyotes could never seem to get it right. Right, because they ended their rebuild in 2011, and now they're in another one. as we just mentioned, long one for Utah. Some more fighting. The Blues made it work. I feel like this is what Steve's aiming for, is the St. Louis Blues, who eventually won the Stanley Cup, right? Like, to Dan B's point, unless I'm forgetting somebody, if we're going to count, how high was Tarasenko? But right, like I can't think of who their super duper star was when they were coming through. Of course, Ryan O'Reilly brought over from Buffalo, and Tarasenko is 16th overall. So yeah, that's what Steve's trying to do here. He's trying to do the St. Louis Blues version of the rebuild. But yeah, just to go back to Dan B's point, I mean, the Panthers are also an interesting case because they said, I'm going to take all of your top picks. And they just started bringing everybody else over to their team, which I would say to Steve right now, if he was sitting here, I think that's a pretty good tack. Steve, I'd probably check that out. See if any trades are on the table there, buddy. Rewind the clock back to when you started. Oilers, of course, just waited until they had every first pick and had enough of them that they could build a team. Right? 15 years of a rebuild.
There's some a little back and forth here. Brad, welcome, buddy. Saying the gap between Tim Stützle and Raymond isn't huge if you put Lucas as the second best pick of his draft. And then there's just some banter about people talking about when Lucas was drafted, because that, boys and girls, that's going to be our best pick for a long time, unless Steve completely rips this thing apart. So you're going to have to be finding some heroes at picks 9 and above. And then Ketzel reminding us, Panthers said F the draft. We built through trade. Pretty smart way to go. I kind of wish we were doing that, but
got a boo-boo,
not
buddy?
really.
Uh-oh. Nope. You'll get me banned from YouTube. Kids are running around naked.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Dan B gave your kids 5 minutes for fighting. They're in big trouble.
I mean, yeah, we're just about at that point. But yeah, I could go through these numbers all the live long day. But
what sucks is we can talk about, Yzerman's done a great job drafting where he did. Cool. But could you make the case that the Blackhawks are closer to being a Stanley Cup team than we are because they have a number one guy?
I mean, I think you and I would both agree that that's the route we would have taken.
Yeah.
I maybe a better example right now is San Jose, right? Like Macklin Celebrini seems to be killing it, and they have quite a few different guys on that list of theirs, their prospect pool. It seems to be turning things around a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And let me see, where are the Sharks? Sharks are on year 6. So they could even come out of it in a couple of years, but people are even saying like somebody in the Pacific is going to surprise us this year. So either the Ducks or the Sharks. Could very well be the Sharks if Celebrini turns into the super duper star he's kind of been hinting at here. And the fun team that the Sharks have built too, like the Celebrinis and the Will Smith seem to be bringing it. I don't know, like that to me is 100% luck is involved to get to the top of the draft.
Yes.
But you're not doing yourself any favors by not trying to get those best odds for a long stretch of time.
By floundering?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, what did being a little bit more competitive? You remember when we were patting ourselves on the back where it was like, we're 6
a point better than last year.
Right. We're 6 points. Right. I was going to say 6. But yeah, we're a point better than we were last year. So the team is improving. And it's like, what did that do for you as a fan? What does that do for Dylan Larkin? And what would be the difference if we just sucked all year and got another chance at bringing in Bedard or bringing in Celebrini? And I don't even hate Marco Kasper. I think that is going to turn out to be a pretty good pick for what we have now. I think we're all excited to see if Axel can come in and make a difference here. I
Man,
love Edmondson. I love Seider.
Putting the world on that guy's shoulders. We just need you to be the best scoring defenseman of all time. Thank you.
So yeah, it is tough to like draw a line on like where was the mistake made. But I think I pretty firmly would land on the we probably should have kept tanking until we were truly ready to pull ourselves out. And if we weren't ready to stop tanking, or we couldn't get around the fact that maybe Dylan was going to ask to leave, I mean, where are we at right now? Now the conversations have started where Dylan's production statistically might start to drop. So there's a lot of tough like conversations to have right now. There's a lot of hindsight being 2020, of course. Would have been nice to turn this around a lot sooner, and maybe there was a path to it and injuries just cave those chances. But I think Dan B's point is right. A lot of teams were able to like pull themselves out once they got that first pick, or were able to like circle like, this is my core for sure.
Yeah.
And one could argue we put ourselves in this position where it's going to take a very long time for us to circle that core.
I think Brad also has a maybe comment of the episode, just because it's very provocative, saying the fork in the road years ago was keeping or moving Dylan. Did he make the right decision? So we kind of talked about, over the past years, trying to figure out a way to make this core into the playoffs. Like, man, can you imagine asking Dylan Larkin to come back again and like be part of another season where you don't make it? We're not going to really be able to sign anybody in the off season. You're going to be the scapegoat when things don't go right. You're the captain. You should be better. You should be carrying these guys that we've handpicked to be mediocre. It was a tall order, but it's like, if they had made the gutsy move to trade him for a huge haul, we wouldn't be making moves thinking about this core. We'd still be thinking about, the future. And instead, now you're kind of in this middle ground where you're like, I want to appease some of these guys. It's not everybody who's a kid on this team. We do have some people who are in their prime right now, like DeBrincat, Larkin, those kind of guys. But now you're probably not good enough to win with them. And those guys are going to be just good enough to make sure we're not bad enough to get a player who's good enough.
I hate that sentence so goddamn much.
I'm a poet. What can I say?
No, it was wonderful. Ketzel thrown out there. Gibson is going to win us 5 more games this season, to be honest. I don't know. Like we're joking about putting a lot on Axel's shoulders. That seems to be a lot to drop on top of Gibson. Because I would call this out. Cam Talbot, year before he came to us, was a .913 save percentage. Comes to us, drops down to 900. Alex Nedeljkovic comes to us as a .932 save percentage. Comes to Detroit, 901, 895. So a lot of the folks that looked at Cam Talbot coming over to Detroit were like, oh, he does great in front of a great defense, or behind a great defense. Put a great defense in front of him, you're going to get a good save percentage out of that goaltender. Same conversations are having are happening for John Gibson right now. Sure, it's great to look at a John, point at a John Gibson. That guy's coming to our team for sure. Argument for poor statistics and why the Ducks were going to go with Dostal instead of Gibson was that performance in front of bad defense. Dostal was able to overcome. John Gibson was not. I would argue we have a much worse defense than... you know what? Not much worse. Let's just say we're kind of at the same level. Like we would be... like the Athletic likes to tier everybody out instead of ranking them from 1 to 100. We're probably in the same tier as the Ducks, and I don't think we're going to make life any easier for John Gibson. I'm really worried about that, Ketzel, to be completely honest. I would like to see some improvements to the defense before we can be confident that John Gibson's going to make us better. Also, 5 wins. Who cares? I'm kidding. I know what your point was. What were you saying, Mike? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just taking a look at the slide. This is salary cap era.
Yes. Yeah. Wild, right? Like how many of these teams that were winning Stanley Cups were technically and making it, maybe to the Stanley Cup Finals had technically a rebuild that they were dealing with. Yeah, Penguins obviously turned their rebuild into 3 cups, just like the Blackhawks. Lightning, it's always funny, like going like, oh wow, it's only 2 cups. Panthers on their way with their 20-year rebuild, on their way to maybe 3 Stanley Cups. Hurricanes got a cup in there. Boston's got a cup in there. Caps just needed Ovi, right? And then they were able to.
Who led that? Do you remember who led that Coyotes team? Who's on that team? Like
to the Final Four?
Or something? Yeah.
Yeah, Doan would have still been around. I wish it gave a year. What was going on there? Wait, I don't know. Well, post 2011. I don't know. I can't put a finger on it. But yeah, this is interesting. Like this is definitely, like you were calling out before, Blake, the slides that Chris Illich is really interested in. But yeah, this comes back to like patience is key. It's just the other part of this is how long is too long, right? So too long for one GM to give it a go. Too long before you hit the reset button. Too long on a lot of things, but I think if we want to make an assessment right now, I'm going to say this. It's too early. It's too early to say the thing.
Which thing? Say the
thing. To fire Steve Yzerman.
Man. After all this hemming and hawing, Matt is still a Steve bot. I knew it. I'm just kidding.
I'll wear that badge. It's fine.
Jared confirming. Oh, Shane down. Ketzel affirming that his Gibson point was that if you just get a couple more wins, you might have squeaked in over Montreal, which is feasible. I do wish our defense, to be on Matt's coattails. I do wish it was a little bit better, but it is hard to disagree with Gibson not being a goalie upgrade. And then Brad threw in a couple top picks here. Best case finishing worst in the league. 2024, you get Celebrity. 2022, you get Slaykovsky. 2021, you get Owen Power. 2018, you get Rasmus. And then all the other first overalls were lottery picks since 2016. I got to sneeze. Hold on.
Yeah, I would definitely give you guys the nod, like the point to say, did we improve our goaltending where the trade ends up being Mrazek for John Gibson? I think you did. I don't know if it was, especially at this point in Gibson's career, is the thing to look at and say, now we're a playoff team. I think honestly, I don't know if I agree with the 5 wins.
Would you say that he is the best goalie that we've had in the past 5 years?
Is he, like, career-wise? Yeah, no problem.
Is Gibson this year the best goalie that
32.
The Red Wings have had in the past 5 years, including like Pete Husso, Pete Nedeljkovic?
Yeah, but you're just comparing it to garbage. I don't understand. Like, every year we go through this thing where it's like, hey, this goalie was good with this team, and then we make excuses as to why they played bad with us, and we won't fix any of those problems, like with the defense. We just keep bringing in new goaltenders. I don't know why we would expect, where Gibson was turning in an 888 and an 899 and even a 904 and a 903 before that. Like, why are we expecting the save percentage to jump up when every goalie we bring in here craters their statistics when they get through a full season with the Red Wings? I don't know why it matters that we brought in the best goaltender, because everyone's statistics crater once they get here.
I think Ketzel, I think the point Matt is trying to make is even if you brought Vasilevsky in here, it just wouldn't make much of a difference. Because you're still putting minutes on Sherratt and Justin Hall and previously Petrie and, the rest of the shenanigans.
Blake says 915 save percentage for Gibson. So Gibson's about to turn in the best season of his career since 2018, 2019. Why? Based on what?
Because we want it more.
Ketzel says this would be the first actual starter. He wasn't the starter on his own team. Dostal was. He's a backup. At this point in his career, we just picked up another backup. He's a starter for us.
God damn it, Matt. Yeah, but now he's playing behind Mo Sider and Albert Johansson and Simon Edvinsson.
So Brad says, I think Gibson wins us more games than Mrazek would have. But it's like nobody wanted Mrazek, right? Like that confused the hell out of all of us. I think it's a miracle that we got something like moved Mrazek and brought in John Gibson, even though the Ducks were kind of like, we're trying to get rid of some of the garbage on our team. Brian says nope to somebody. Jared throws out there, Ketzel, that's a good point. Not a single former Wings goalie still in the league is a starter. Maybe I just super suck at analyzing this, but that just tells me that we're about to end John Gibson's career. Like, I mean, what's first here? Chicken or the egg kind of thing. Like, are we ending careers or is it, isn't it the same pro scouting team that brought in John Gibson?
Are we allowed to make cross sports analogies? Does that grind your molars? Are you okay with that?
Go for it. No, go for it.
I just remember the Detroit Lions were shuffling through quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And then they got this guy from the Rams that nobody wanted. But it didn't really matter because they invested so much money in the offensive line. So you or me could have been quarterback. So it's like at this juncture, it's like, if you brought in Vasilevsky or like you brought in Tom Brady, it doesn't matter if there's no one to block for him. So it feels like the big investment, Steve, it has to be the defense. And the investment doesn't mean you just make a big contract for a shitty player. It means you get a good player and retain him. Which we haven't really. We drafted Mo and Simon the Pieman, but it's, unfortunately 4 to 5 to 6 other jabronis out there who have not done a great job defensively or offensively. So neither side of the puck.
Yeah, and I mean, Ketzel to just call it out too. Like I still am. I'm happy we have John Gibson in there, but I don't know. It seems to be a pattern. Like we talked.
No, Dan B goes, is Gibson our Rodney Pete?
No. Dan B.
I hope he's better than Rodney Pete.
Brian throws in there. He's a backup, not a starter.
I just think I think Gibson could be a Jared Goff, right? Where it's not necessarily a top 10 guy, but it's a guy who, with the defense, be pretty damn good. So,
I would say this too, Ketzel. Like, I think my idea of getting 5 more wins out of a goalie too is hurt by the fact like those like a J Fresh statistical chart will even rate like Connor McDavid adds 5 more wins to your team. So that's where it's tough for me to like look at John Gibson and say 5 more wins. Because you know what? The reason that's so difficult is think about how many times that we got a win and we shouldn't have, and how many times that's going to equal out for like John Gibson. Like maybe he gets a shutout and the different, shutout and it's 7-0. Like he could come in with better statistics, but to get those 5 more wins in my head it seems way more difficult. Like, and to put that on one guy's shoulders. And again, the Jay Freshes, the Dom Luszczyzns, they would say like Connor McDavid adds 5 wins to your team. So that's where it's tough for me to look at John Gibson and say he's just going to flip this franchise into a playoff team. It's hard for me to do because I've gone through all these seasons. We talk about all these goaltenders that are now gone. I've never looked at these goaltenders and said night after night, wow, what a bozo. What's he doing in there? Instead, I look at the defense. I'm like, what the hell do these guys have a contract for?
I mean, we were in love with, guys like Alex Lyon, who nobody wanted to sign him. And I don't even think it's a detriment to him, but it's just like, all right, I could kind of see a world where he's, he could win some games, but it was the offensive line, defenseman issue. Corey saying, don't worry, fellas. The other pods say we have to be patient and our window doesn't open until 2030. Oh my God. When Kane, DeBrincat are gone and some of us, frankly, will be dead. And Larkin is a shell of himself. Jesus.
I don't know. I don't listen to the other podcast. I don't know how true that is, but Mike, it would be wild if the other Red Wings podcast right now, how many times did we say 3 to 5 years? I feel like when the show first started, and it was
always Darren McCarty told us, guys, it's always going to be 9 to 15 years. That's what you should 9 to 15. My God.
10 to 15. He knew we wouldn't get it.
Kids are going to be finger banging kids in high school by the time Red Wings are relevant. Jesus Christ. Oh no.
Jim Johnson's worried he's going to have a walker by 2030.
Wow. Dane B says, I honestly and truly believe we'll be better than this year. Hiccup, burp, vomit. I believe our defense will surprise a lot of people. Ugh. Assuming Hall stays chained to the press box. Dan B having a little nightcap for himself. Enjoy that whiskey, my friend. Ketzel reminding us we played 5 goalies last year, which not great. Jared throwing out there, Lyon had the benefit of being a backup on a Stanley Cup finalist team.
Did we hate? Am I crazy? Did we watch Alex Lyon and say, wow, this guy fucking sucks?
I don't think I ever thought he sucks. I just thought, Am
I crazy? Is history being rewritten right now while we're making the argument that defense is the problem and not the goaltender?
No, I mean, I don't think you can really debate that Gibson should be an upgrade over guys we've had the past couple years.
Yes, 100%.
Cool.
You're right. Yeah, Ketzel, 100%. It's an upgrade. This is the best goaltender we've had on staff.
I think,
and
honestly,
also, the year before we said that, year before we said that. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Why can't we say John Gibson's better than Jimmy Howard?
Ooh.
I don't care. I'll say it.
I'll say it again.
Right. It's fine. But I never circled goal. Mike, I do not care. I care so little about goaltending. How many times do teams invest in goaltending and things just don't work out because goaltending's voodoo? I don't care.
You know what? You know what isn't voodoo is standing on the fence. Best James Bond says, I think the Wings make another good push for the playoffs. Maybe make it, maybe miss. All right. Well, you heard it here.
Thanks, buddy.
Jared reminding us the defense sucked as a whole. And then 840 horsepower Mopar Power, which is not a burner account or a bot. This is a real person posting saying Gibson is our Flex Seal. Oh, wait a minute. You're just selling Flex Seal. Just kidding. So the ship doesn't sink. Yzerplan needs to put real money in the defense. Well, unfortunately, he's put a lot of money into the defense, but not into good players. So, hopefully we can sense, buddy, that we're all, a little more interested in this offseason. And Fitzu, I don't remember seeing Fitzu. Fitzu, welcome. Saying, I don't think we ever said the goalies suck, but I think in March there were several games where we needed one more save, especially in games where we had a lead in the third period.
Fitzu, I think what you bring up is a great point, but when we look at the full season, I think that comes back to the defense. I don't think that falls on the goaltending.
Knowing we've had seasons in the past where, like, you know, the Nedeljkovic's or the Hussos or the Lions or even the Talbots had that expected goals saved above expected, right? That was like a pretty impressive thing. We're like, okay, I can see that. I can objectively see our goalies busting their ass trying to make this work. But I also think, instead of putting the onus on the goaltenders, we had some unbelievably unwatchable hockey, like, periods and games where we could not get the fucking puck out of our own zone, where it would go on for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. The other team was doing line changes in our zone. I've never seen such inept defense in my entire life. And this isn't even like the worst team in the league, right? Because we had some matchups where we could take advantage and score goals, but that defense was just inexcusably bad. Like, unbelievably bad. It was an unbelievable. I don't know how the coaching staff like watched that and like looked those guys in the faces the next day and been like, dude, what is this? So, I mean, priority one, it's got to be guys who can get the puck out of our zone. And, you know, we've made zero progress in terms of changing the personnel from last season. You know, Petrie's not employed here anymore. I don't think that really counts. It's still largely guys that played here last year. So it's a little concerning.
Yeah, I would call out too with Fitzu and your point here. Like, I don't know if bringing in a guy that lost his job in Anaheim is like the name where I'd circle and I'd be like, we need a save in the third period. Anaheim's backup goaltender. Get in there. Like, I know, and I can't believe this is what the episode is turning into. So we're gonna like cut it off. I think we all agree Gibson is an upgrade. That to me will forever baffle me why Steve puts so much emphasis on goaltending. If he's voting for the Hall of Fame every year, I don't know who votes for the Hall of Fame. Oh, right, it's sports writers. If Steve ever got a vote, he better be voting Chris Osgood every year, because apparently Steve thinks this is the be all end all for a winning franchise, because that turnstile, that revolving door of his net, maybe that's what we should look for, is some stability in the net. I don't know. Maybe that's an option, but no, we have a new goaltender every year. We got to figure out what's going on there. We're done. We're going to move on. We have other topics. Ketzel. Yes, we upgrade.
Ketzel, you're not wrong. I mean, Gibson is going to be better. It's just, you know, how much better could, you know, Vasilevsky be with this defensive core? That's
right. I
think that's the consensus from Red Wings Rant. Brian Burns saying, Flex Seal, that stuff actually works. I don't know why that made me think of John Madden. Flex Seal, boom, that stuff actually works. Jared, lest we forget Hellberg, good old Magnus. Jim is still here. Jim, welcome, buddy. Saying, I expect we will more of D change.
Why?
We'll change more of the D in December 26th. Cap goes up, but also we have more D that will not be re-signed.
We've said that. Jim, you're only saying that because it's July 23rd. We say and I love you, Jim. I'm not actually mad at you. But if this is the case, if this is like part of the strategy, as fans, we say this leading April, leading into May, leading into June. We're like, oh, look, we should trade for this guy. We should trade for that guy. Oh, we could maybe bring in this guy. We have all these draft picks that won't turn into players for 6 years. Why don't we turn those draft picks into players who are players right now? And then we can have our defense be a little bit better. And that's just, we're saying, like, Jim, you're saying summer of 2026 only because we're done. Like, the off season's done and we don't anticipate anything fun happening. That's why you're saying that. It should have been 2024 or 23. Not even this year, but no, not 2026. This is supposed to be an episode where we argued that Steve Yzerman might be doing things okay. And now I'm just so angry right now.
I do have some bad news, by the way, in terms of spending money on defense.
Yeah.
You know, if only we had an off season where we had some money. Oh, we got $12 million that nobody wants. Got it. Dan A, welcome. Saying when the Wingdings finally make it to the playoffs and get bounced in the first round in the foreseeable future, does that mean the rebuild was a success? Don't see the path to more than that. I think you might be a little tardy on this one, Dan. We talked about, is it Pidutti?
Yeah.
What's the publication for that article?
That was Daily Faceoff. He's from Adjusted Hockey, but Paul Pidutti.
Yeah, if you're coming in late, Dan, we actually found a pretty cool article that we hope you guys check out. Basically, the guy was just making a case of what a rebuild is and when it ends. And so he's trying to have an objective timeline that it's not just you squeaked into the playoffs and then crapped out for the next couple of years. Like, you got to have sustained success to prove that you're out of the rebuild. So his criteria was you get, I think it was 2 straight years in the playoffs, or, by God, win a Stanley Cup. So, 1 year and then back out is not really ending the rebuild. That's, kind of an anomaly. You want to have sustained success. So it would not be a success if they just got bounced in one round. And then the other Dan B, saying you need mobile defense, can't win without it. And, ooh, Matt, here's one with some actual names. I like when we have names for this kind of stuff. Corey saying, can Buium and Wallander really be worse than Gus and Hall? Even if they aren't dynamic offensively, if they aren't pylons out there, I don't see how that doesn't help team defense. Corey?
I like it.
Almost every year when we do these, exhibition games and preseasons and practices, it blows my mind that players like that are just so clueless and terrible. They can't unseat these guys who are like a bottom 5 regular season 5-on-5 penalty kill defense. They're that bad. They can't unseat those guys. Incredible.
That, can I just say, combining that idea with John Gibson makes me I'm more optimistic, but just continuing to roll out the same defense and we're just like, nope, this goalie will do it. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Ketzel. I totally still see you're where you're at, 5 extra wins. I like your argument too with the calling out where the wins came from this year. But yeah, it's just, to me, we're every year we have this constant problem of trying to figure out this defense, and I don't get why it just looks so simple to us and it's impossible to fix for Steve and this prospect pool.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Do we want to look at
Jim did make me feel better though. Hall, Gustafson, and Sherratt will not be re-signed after this season. So,
I don't know. That was because I was being mean. That's why Jim said that. You're right, Jim. I just any of these guys could have been bought out, and then we wouldn't have to have this conversation about not re-signing them next year. I'm just there were solutions. There were things we could have done. And now we're just at the point of trying to justify all the decisions that Steve made.
And we have a new name, Todd Weinberg. What's going on, Todd? Saying Wings goalie. Ooh, drummer for Spinal Tap.
I like it. That Spinal Tap's back in theaters. Did you know that?
Yeah, they're getting ready for the. Aren't they? Thanks, Jay Leno. I think they're doing a sequel, aren't they?
Oh, really? I did not hear about that. What? Can we make a whole episode about that? Okay. Yeah. I was told this guy's full of baloney, grade A baloney, but it's a good transition for us to talk about Erik Karlsson coming to the Wings. Does this solve your defense problem, Mike? No. You know what it solves, Mike? It solves your transitions in the neutral zone and holding on to the puck.
Can you imagine how much different this team would be with him and Axel just getting the effing puck in transition into the offensive zone?
Are we familiar? Yeah.
I think I would cry. I would cry literal tears. I mean, we'd still be losing 6-5, but we'd be playing watchable hockey games. Jesus.
Have you watched Lane Hudson dance around the line and hold on to the puck for Montreal and then whoop oh, they're in the playoffs. Like even strength defense is measuring what's going on in the defensive zone. Are there deficiencies in Erik Karlsson's game?
I see him right there. Even strength defense. I see him. The red. Boo.
Yeah. Boo. Let's solve some of these problems. You know what Ben Sherratt can't do? He can't help us keep the puck in the offensive zone. No matter how hard Seider tries, he can't help us do it. It's just not. It's not in the cards for him. And this is a great opportunity for us to show Axel what's going on too, because Erik hangs around for a couple of years. We say, "Good day, sir." He retires, goes back to Sweden. Thank you, Mike. This I don't know why it's turned now, like on social media, into the why are Red Wings fans so hyper fixated on Erik Karlsson? It's not hyper fixated on this defense and who could actually be available. We have $12 million of cap. Fix the goddamn thing. Put some real talent on this defense.
The comments are coming in hot, by the way. I think that people are kind of excited for that. Jim did want to just reemphasize, Matt and Mike, sincerely hoping that Gus Hallstrott would be gone this summer. The only one that could be moved is Gus. 100% agree. Frank Willis. I like that name a lot. Welcome, Frank. Saying the rebuild's taking too long already. If the Wings don't make the playoffs this year, Stevie can go. We got so many people that showed up just a hair late, and by the numbers, the Red Wings rebuild is kind of on track. Kind of. I mean, we still need some miracles, like, drafting a player or having a player as good as Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby drafted, to turn things around. But another, Matt, I'm going to say another dart throw here at comment of the episode, because it crushes me emotionally, is Ketzel. Saying some of these prospects make me nervous in terms of they're not even knocking on the door to being call-ups. Ketzel kind of makes me want to cry a little bit. Like, we put all our hopes into these guys. Like, if Axel sucks, I'm going to be devastated. I'm going to be emotionally devastated if this guy just can't. Oh, he's just too little. He can't hold on to the puck. He gets beat up all the time. Or, what if he peters out as like a defensive Robbie Fabry? I'm going to be crushed if that guy sucks. I'm going to be crushed. I think there was one more I really liked in there. Oh, I can't find it, but Brand New said, you guys going to any Lions games this year? Yeah, if I win the lottery. Jesus Christ, those tickets are getting expensive. Dan B saying Karlsson helps your pee-pee by 3 to 5%. Woo-hoo-hoo! I need all the help I can get. Come on down, Karlsson. Brian, Karlsson doesn't get to sign with us. We'd be trading for 2 years of his contract. He's stuck here.
We skipped. Did you get this one from Fitzu? Hall excels at getting the puck into the offensive zone, just not our offensive zone.
Oh, Fitzu, comment on the episode. Bang.
Fitzu, you might have done it.
One. Ooh, worst comment of the episode. Blake, by a long shot here, saying goaltending more of an issue than defense. Holy mackerel, Sherratt for Norris. Oh, he's being funny, I hope. Thanks, Blake.
No, Blake's pretty consistently on the Sherratt train. That's his boy.
Then Blake saying trade Axel for McTavish. Woo! Blake having a little afternoon sauce. All right.
So this is fun. I feel like we're all having fun now. So we can. We've been talking about Karlsson for a while too, but I would just call out he faces pretty tough competition.
Karlsson was negative 24. Wait till he's playing in front of Gibson, though.
That was no. All right, moving on. Also, since we've been away, but it seems like things are heating up again because now the conversation with Frank Saravelli in regards to Jordan Kyrou and the St. Louis Blues is how Kyrou might be ready to waive the no trade clause. I believe it's a full no trade for Mr. Kyrou, and St. Louis did try to shop him before that. What would you say? Activated, which activated on July 1st. Didn't work out, but I think we'd all agree, Mike, if we were told that the company we worked for was trying to get rid of us, then we'd be more okay with like shop. Yeah, go ahead, shop me around. Let's see what happens. If you guys aren't familiar with Jordan Kyrou, I mean, this guy, I feel like, would solve a lot of our roster problems that we were putting. I mean, even the depth chart right now is Van Riemsdyk on the first line. And last year we had the problems of Söderblom being on the first line, even though we love Söderblom. But this would be an option for us on the wing that I think gives us a legit, I'm going to say a top 6 forward to add to this team. I'm not going to call him the elite forward, but this is something where I think you solidify like that top 6 into something very NHL respectable, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think too, we might be looking at 35 goals from Kyrou last year.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
I just had his numbers pulled up. Last year's 36, year before that 31, year before that 37, year before that 27, and then before that he was not who he was yet. He was only playing 16 games, 28 games, 55. So since he's been a full timer, he's basically 30 plus per season.
Yeah, I mean, plus 23, 70 points in 82 games. Selke votes too. I mean, for sure, we see the numbers here. This guy definitely leans as a positive in the defensive zone. I don't know. The Wings from Frank Saravelli are rumored to be one of the top 3 teams to land Kyrou. I think when Steve had his what?
Jared saying Kyrou, he's too young for the Red Wings pro scouts. Get back to me when you're 32, buddy.
Yeah, I know Jared's kidding, but he is at that spot too where it's like the peak of your career. Like this happens in the 27, 28 range. This could be something too where we pick up a Jordan Kyrou and we're about to watch his best season. So put him with a Lucas Raymond and a Dylan Larkin. That's a recipe to me that's it's going to make for some good hockey. I had all the stats right there.
Before we let you run away with that, Matt, how quickly can you put together a Kyrou package?
Oh, like a trade? Sorry. Yeah. I thought you wanted to see the roster. I was like, there it is.
Because Jared was making a good point. It's probably an NHL guy, prospects and picks. So it's probably 2 to 3 firsts. If you can get away, Danielson?
Did you say 2 to 3 first round picks?
The market is bananas right now.
I don't know. I'm thinking of first and maybe a second, and then this is where you get tricky with like a prospect who's almost ready to go, and then I feel like, you know what, Mike? You know who would fit in St. Louis really well?
Oh boy,
really well.
Who's that?
It's Andrew Copp. Oh my God, okay. Night and day, like just St. Louis
now that
all the way.
Over. Nobody wants that bozo. Come on.
Why not? He's so good, Mike. He's a middle 6 forward that you can rely on defensively, and
so I guess it's Branson, Nygaard, Danielson, a first and a second. So we give them 2 puppies and 2 future puppies for $8 million.
You're giving them Nate Danielson, Branson Nygaard, and a first round pick. Yeah. That's a little
too much.
Yeah, that's way too much.
If
that's the ask, that I'm just like, all right, Jordan Kyrou's not that good. If we're talking about Elias Pettersson, I mean,
okay, there it is.
I mean, come on.
They're calling me nuts, but I'm just saying the market is not lending itself to helping the Red Wings out, and you got to pay an Yzerman tax because everyone hates this guy. So the Yzerman tax is an extra prospect and an extra pick.
I would challenge St. Louis to think about how shaky Jordan Binnington has been. I would think about Trey Augustine or Sebastian Cossa getting mixed in there, a first and a second, and then I would give them a player that's ready to go right now too.
I think the other thing that I'm doing and is basically giving these guys the Ketzel concern, where I don't know if our prospects are actually any good. So I'm like, all right, listen, one of them will probably work out, maybe. And even if not, I'm giving you an extra first-round pick. You're welcome.
Now, Jared throws out. Wait, were we talking about Kyrou or Carlson?
Kyrou.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. I was like, okay, Kyrou for sure.
Oh,
you got
Carlson
6 years.
trade. Hey, man, you
6
get
years.
a
Yeah,
we'll
Carlson.
eat that contract for you, buddy.
Exactly. Yeah. Carlson. We'll just take it on, right?
Yeah. That's just ours now. You don't get anything.
Yeah. The other thing too, I know that is a lot. I think I'd pull back, Mike, on a couple names that you threw in there, or at least like I think you are talking about a first rounder and a first round talent, if that makes sense. Am I saying that right? A pick, a talent, and then something to go along with that to supplement it. I think you're looking for things that could help now, and maybe something that could help a year or two from now as well.
Oh my God.
But I mean, right now, I don't even know if Steve has the confidence in Sebastian Cossa. I mean, aren't we just like a couple episodes removed from talking about how Sebastian Cossa will now have the longest tenure of a first-round goaltender in non-NHL games?
Setting records down there, baby.
But does that mean... I mean, doesn't that mean like we're at that point where it's like, okay, if we can mix Cossa into one of these trades, like clearly Steve's not seeing it.
Uh-huh. By Brad with a new hybrid name, Kyrulson.
I like it. Brian's trying to get rid of Cop. I like it. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, but we are at an hour 21 today.
Oh, well, I mean, it's been a while, right? We're not, real quick. We can run through these. Ricard Raquel's up there. Brian Rust. I would lean Ricard Raquel. And then this next one's kind of fun. Yegor Chidakov, former first-round pick for Columbus. Like, take a look at those stats. 7 goals, 8 assists, and 15 points, obviously, in 30 games.
Right up our alley.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
That's our first line left wing right there.
My man is not gonna get a lot for Columbus, right? Like he's not gonna get. I'd sniff around this just to see what happens. He seems pretty motivated to try to be like give me a shot, guys. So here's my argument. If we're not gonna do any of the things we've mentioned, here's my argument for Yegor Chidakov. All right, like this was our first line winger last season.
Yeah, he's tall. I like that.
The argument just being, let's bring in another guy who's at the age where you could start to see what's going to happen with his career. Let's try it out. He was in Columbus. I mean, it's Columbus, you know?
Let's bring him to Hockeytown. 9 years, still running.
He's faced tougher competition than Söderblom. Finishing in goals is up there. I don't know. I'd give it the old snifferoo. Yeah, then there you go. Instead of putting Van Riemsdyk on the first line. Again, Van Riemsdyk's on our first line. Like, let's try some guys out. Let's see what happens if the ask is low. I'd sniff around that. We are not in any rumors for Chidakov. Like, doesn't make sense.
The only ex who picks up our calls,
I like this.
Is St. Louis. St. Louis is the only one who picks up our drunk dials at 2 a.m.
Well, that's the other reason why you'd think Kyrou would work, right?
Yeah. We only trade with one team. Yeah.
Ketzel's got a fun idea. Let's Chidakov for Berggren.
I think Berggren would like that.
I think you're right. And Chidakov wants out, so I don't know. It's not anything where I'm like that. This changes the team, but I try it out. Let's see what happens. Okay, we got to go. Appreciate y'all for hanging around for an hour and a half. Sorry for arguing with everybody today.
That's why they tune in. They love the rant.
That's true. You guys get me hot
and bothered.
Yep, said that one wrong. Okay, it's a good time to end. All right, see you, everybody.
Bye. Matt's